Yeah, I think Unwrap Media is probably the best way to describe it as a modern technology company. I think if we look at what we try and do as a company is probably transform the usual and disrupt the norms. So I think what we're looking to do is to take any customer and really provide an emotional connection with that customer, either using visuals, using content, or using technology. And for that, in order to bring that to life for a customer, we utilize many different technologies, many different forms of content in order to bring that disruption to the norm, to the table. So I think if you look at the history of advertising and how any person, any individual, young or old, engages with tech or engages with advertising, we all started with static, and you can recall the traditional old static posters, and they were then done in color, and everybody engaged with them. Then we had 2D, and 2D was really what you saw, and even what you see today on LED screens or TV screens, and there was advertising done in that format. Now, when 2D first came out, a good few years ago, it was an engaging platform because it was moving, and ultimately people really engaged with it, and whatever the messaging was on that 2D interface, people really saw what it was, they took it to heart, and they either converted the brand or they made the purchase of whatever was being showcased. Today, if you look at where I believe 2D is, it's been on a journey. But if you take individuals today and you take in within your own personal capacity, or you look at brands that are one trying to activate a brand message, whether they're trying to make a hard sell, or whether they're trying to do directional or wayfinding messaging, the challenge today is that 2D, because it's been there for quite a while, has almost become like having breakfast in the morning. It's tunnel vision. You see it, but you don't really see it. And the whole thing is now, as a brand, how do you get your brand message out there? How do you get people to stop and engage with whatever advertising you're actually using? And because the world around us actually isn't 3D visuals, and before you could only watch 3D by using glasses and having a look at it in a theater, now being able to bring 3D holographic to the eye of every person, young or old, every consumer, this takes this to a whole new level, because you know for a fact that if you see something floating in the middle of the air in 3D, you are going to stop and you are going to engage with it. And that's the difference of where 3D is today compared to 2D, is it's a disruptive visual storyboard where I'm able to take a customer's journey into a visual journey and engage with my brand. So how this came about, it's actually been 10 years in the making. Hypervision was founded actually on the Dragon Den TV story. It's one of the big success stories that came out of there. And the two founders had this vision of, how do I bring 3D visuals to everybody, everywhere, anytime? And since then, they've been named the UK startup company. And 10 years in the making, you can now find Hypervision as the only tier one holographic solution in 70 countries, which is a lot. And they've already activated Hypervision in more than 35% of the Fortune 100 companies globally. So it's really a story from startup to something now which is mainstream. And that is the beauty around holographic today, is it is available in any shape, form, and size, and can be made available to anybody, young and old, without glasses, and being able to disrupt the norms. So I think, even before COVID and the transition was being made, and companies were looking for new platforms to use to, whether I want to mesmerize audiences with something, whether I want to attract attention to my brand or my advert. I think, if I'm looking at maximizing returns, increasing sales, it's about how do I do that? Where and what do I use as a platform to engage? I think that holographic has been able to allow you as a brand to do that. But there's two different aspects here. One, if I have a hard brand message to sell, if you look at some of the exercises and focus groups that we've done, you're getting a very small percentage of the audiences that are moving past the public areas actually engaging in 2D. Actually, the focus groups that we've run in certain areas, it's less than 10%. The biggest challenge is that that audience, even though it's less than 10% of the total footfall, they're only looking for less than 5 seconds. Now, whether it's a hard sell or a brand message or wayfinding or directional messaging, I cannot get that to my audience in less than 5 seconds. It normally takes me 15 seconds to tell my story, to engage with my customer. And holographic allows you to get that dwell time. It allows you, one, to get the emotional connection with somebody, to engage in whatever that message is that I'm trying to bring to their attention. And so you're not limited, I think, to anything from how or where, from a vertical or industry, that you're able to actually engage with an audience. I think, and the examples that I've seen, it literally encompasses A to Z. If you can imagine it and you can dream it, you can probably bring it to life in holographic. Yeah, so if you look at just a week and a half ago, the holographic roadmap was amplified with the new Smart V technology. Now, I think when you look at Smart V technology, where does it take us from where we were? It brings in a whole interactive solution, which is way different to what we had before. So things like digital 3D catalogs, where I can actually now go through and interact with a digital catalog versus a paper catalog, has become real. I take digital assistants or human holograms to a whole new level. So if you think now of being able to take anybody, be it a celebrity, a brand influencer, being a statesman, and being able to deliver something using human hologram, that's real and available today. If you look at the fashion industry, static mannequins in, for instance, a shop window, I can only see one outfit on the static mannequin. Using human holograms and digital mannequins, I can show an entire portfolio of a range of a brand on a same mannequin and then move into another brand. So I think with what you're going to see with Smart V, it becomes the first platform that I'm able to do 2D, 3D, holographic, and live streaming on a single platform. It opens up so many different areas. Being able to go onto the stock exchange with live data, being very small, fine pitch, 0.6 millimeter dot pictures, so you can actually see the financial analysis. Being able to go outdoors with the new tech with 3000 nit brightness, being able to do live streaming of an event, and during the event, it could be a rugby game or something like that, being able to pull up a live holographic advert during the live streaming, holographic gaming, holographic conferencing, video conferencing, all of these things become now possible with the Smart V solutions. So it's very exciting times for holographic and hypervision. And I think you will see an extensive new applications with the roadmap that what we see using Smart V. Yeah, so when it comes to the commercials, and it's about the how much part. I'll answer your question twice. So one on the affordability and second on the industries. So from an affordability, We've worked with a number of the big brands in South Africa to come up with the right recipe to take this into the mainstream. Whether you're a small shish and yama shop that wants to use holographic to advertise your latest specials and maximize the revenue from that, or whether you're a very big, top 50 corporate in South Africa, the opportunities are there, but the affordability comes down to the model that we've put together, which is a full end-to-end solution. It's a monthly rental, which allows you to rent the technology. All of the holographic content, which is created by our designers, is included in the rental, including the installation, the service level agreements. So it comes down to a monthly rental, which forms part of your operating expenses, as opposed to buying this outright and then having to buy individual pieces of content, which become really expensive if you bought each piece of individual content from the designers. We built an end-to-end solution with national infrastructure for service level agreements. We have our own design teams, which are trained internationally to produce the content, and then the shop fitting to understand where to put it and whether it's a single device or whether it's a very big wall, holographic wall, or a human hologram. All those solutions are available, and we recommend based on the audience that you're trying to address and what we call the V, to maximize attention from the left, the right, and the center. We'll come up with the best rental for the solution to maximize what you're trying to achieve. Then looking at industries and talking about that, it really is for anybody. So I'll give you an example, what we've done, for instance, in the mines. So the big challenge was, how do you actually get the rules of safety, the rules of life communicated to all the miners in the mine? So the challenge before was static was used, or 2D. Now they're able to take the rules of life and the rules of safety, and using holographic, that becomes a visual storyboard for everybody within the mines, that they're able to see when they go down the shafts and when they come up. It's now become a whole different visual storyboard that's really resonated with everybody in the mines, because their content that they want to deliver was very different. It wasn't a hard sell or a brand message. It was about maximizing fatality-free hours and using the rules of life and the rules of safety and putting that up in animation, which made it easier for people to actually engage and relate with it. So that, from going to a very small shop where I wanted to advertise 10% off or the latest croissant or the latest coffee, or you could do that, or moving into something a lot more sophisticated where I wanted to take big machinery. If you think of companies that are using big machinery, how do I showcase a very big tractor, or some surgical equipment? I could now take this apart in 3D and actually show that, and have people visualize and interact with it. So I don't think it's limited to anybody. I think literally from A to Z, there is an application that can be used to do it. And because we're not limited to any space constraints, I can ceiling mount the solution. I can put it on a pillar. I can put it before where there was dead space. I can put it into any accessory that you want. I don't think you're really limited to how and where you can deploy it. It really depends on what you're trying to achieve, and then for our team to help put that together and bring it to life in front of your customer. So I will sum it up probably pretty quickly. I would say stop communicating and start connecting. So I think there's a lot of money being spent on communication. My question is, are you really connecting with your end customer? And that's also our part of our solution today, is we bring in the analytical side as well. So we're able to actually use analytics and data, using camera technology in conjunction with the holographic, where I can actually give you data as to who is engaging with whatever your messaging is. So from an age group, from a gender, from an emotion point of view, today I think holographic has become so more powerful because we're all subject to wearing masks. So it's really a visual storyboard that is in front of us. Holographic brings that to life. But, you know, I'm saying a lot of budget is spent on communication. I think holographic allows you to connect. So stop communicating, start connecting. We have some great solutions, and we're happy to engage with as many customers as possible and see how we bring their brands to life.